Joel Omans, animation sequence. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, dude. I'm super excited to hear that you released your new EP, Claytronic, 2 songs. Really good, dude. Digging the vocals back in your style of music. Tell us about your project at this point and the changes that you've made, the significant changes that you've made.
Yeah, so Anime Sequence is a full band now, and yeah, we've got vocals in the mix. We've got Anime Sequence is like my full-time project now. It used to just kind of be something I did on the side, but now I'm kind of tackling it head on, and yeah, seeing how far we can go with it. So we're kind of putting all our eggs in this basket and doing our best to just elevate the project and make some cool shit happen, make some cool music. So yeah.
Awesome, dude. In the first single, I mean, the only single, Claytronic, I thought it was really cool that you guys released it as an instrumental too. But really
Mhm.
having vocals, dude, I think kind of pushes it over the top, which was great music anyway, because you have other releases as animation sequence that were all instrumental. But I really do think the vocals did add something to it. And was it a conscious decision to like bring those back into or bring those into your own music?
Um, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I did vocals on the last single, Dark Matter Ritual, with Ben Hoagland from
Oh, that's right.
Extortionist. And with that single, those when animation was more just like I guess a solo project slash collab project where I would kind of like, I even on that single I worked with Cameron Loesch from Born of Osiris on drums, and had Ben with vocals on that. But this time, I was like, I want to have like a dedicated lineup now, and like I don't want it just to be my project. I want it to be like a band that that's involved can call their band. So yeah, the addition of Adam Mercer on vocals, I mean, it was just the moment I saw some of his old YouTube videos and like kind of got referred to him from my current guitarist Sam, I was like, oh yeah, like if this guy's down, like I'm totally down. I saw him do an old Rings of Saturn cover, and he was like inspired by Ian Bear's style. So I was like, oh yeah, like your style with our music is just going to be like a perfect fit. And yeah, just with the first song Claytronic, it kind of proved that to be correct. So yeah, adding vocals was very much a conscious move. It's something I wanted to do with the animation sequence. Like since the moment I guess when I was in Rings of Saturn, we went instrumental with that. I wanted to still do something with vocals. So um, even as far back, like I said, as Dark Matter Rituals, when I always wanted to have vocals and then also have the option for the listener to hear it instrumentally, because that's how anime sequence started for years, was just instrumental project, just like experimenting with cool guitar stuff and making songs out of it. So that's always kind of been the foundation of the project. So I always wanted always release an instrumental version of whatever we put out alongside that to kind of keep true to that.
Nice, dude. And like, do you feel like even with the older stuff with animation sequence, do you feel that you wrote those songs to have vocals potentially, or were they just written as just like this is going to be instrumental? Like, or did you like write songs where like, hey, if there were vocals for this, it would be cool, or was it just like I want to make these all instrumental?
Yeah, so yeah, if I go back to like the very first EP release that came out, I think in 2018. I was playing around with the idea of having vocals here and there, but I was the vocalist I was talking to about potentially working with. They were busy with touring projects, and it's kind of hard to get everyone's schedule on the same page. So originally, yeah, the early, I guess, writing for that first EP, I had vocals in mind, but then I quickly shifted to like, oh, I just want to get some stuff out, and it's just not working right now. So just went full instrumental with the project from that point. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, basically from the beginning, vocals in mind, but just kind of shifted to instrumental to start things out.
Man, I totally get it because in my own experience, that's how it kind of was for me. Like where I wrote songs like, oh, these are going to have vocals, and it didn't really ever pan out for whatever reason. And so I made like instrumental music, but I just go back and like listen to the old stuff and be like, oh, dude, that'd be awesome as a chorus, or like this would be a cool verse and stuff like that. So I get it, like having the conscious idea or made a decision, and then being able to adapt it and change it, and then also, but bringing the vocals in, it does sound rad. And Do you guys have any video content, like any playthroughs or anything that you guys are going to release or anything like that?
Yeah, so we definitely are gonna do a playthrough for Claytronic. Right now, we're just waiting to get the very first 8 strings from the new guitar company I'm working with, Cerberus Guitars. And as soon as we get those, we're gonna start filming lots of content again, and just really get more, I guess, uh, video content out per se for the content. Even make some guitar videos and stuff. Now that I have another guitarist, we're both going to be tackling some older song stuff that's never been demonstrated before, releasing tabs for older songs, and of course the new song when that playthrough drops. Probably see our vocalist do a playthrough as well, since he's done a lot of playthroughs of other bands and his own material from other bands he's been in. So yeah, we've got between now and the next release, we're definitely going to be releasing a lot of video content and kind of just spreading awareness of the project. So
Nice, dude. And that song is so killer. Like for all the guitar nerds and all the music nerds, it'll be something that's really cool to see because we all pay attention to all that kind of stuff. And you talked about the older material too. So are you the type of guy that notates everything? So that way, if you have to learn it, you can like without having to listen to it a bunch. Like, is that like something you do?
oh yeah, so how I like to write is I like to write, on the guitar, but as I'm writing everything on guitar, like I've got to have Guitar Pro there to kind of organize my ideas and also just be able to experiment and like in real time hear how one layer sounds against another, or oh, is this chord a better backing for this lead part, or whatever the situation calls for. So plus with this kind of music, it's impossible to memorize all these songs and all these passages after you've created such a as time goes on you create a more fleshed out discography that just has so many things to remember. It very much comes in handy to have some kind of reference on hand. Plus when I release the guitar tabs, if anyone asks, they're usually, by the time I get done tabbing everything out, I usually have them like 90% done. And then after final recordings and the final changes in post production are made, I'll go back, just do a few edits to make sure it's accurate, and then the tabs will be ready too. So it's very much comes in handy. Also, notating everything. If I want to write synth, actually write the synth parts on guitar, so I can take the MIDI from Guitar Pro and kind of mess around with some plugins, get some cool synth sounds I want, and I can quickly get those going without having to have like a physical keyboard and MIDI controller. I know some people that kind of works better for them, but I've everything I write starts on the guitar because that's what I know. It's like some people write all their music on a piano for other instruments and stuff. But it's just kind of how I know how to find the notes and all that. So yeah, notating everything very, very much an important part of the process for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, number one, it's hard to remember all that stuff. And like when you are like writing it, it's nice to be able to hear it in real time and make changes or whatever. Then like after you record it, go back and so the tabs right because there's nothing worse than trying to learn something that's
Oh
not
yeah.
accurate.
Plus, if you have to have like, another guitarist or a bass player learn something, you don't have to, you can speed up the process for them and for yourself, because then they have a reference, and you don't have to, especially if you have to work remote with somebody, then you don't have to do like lessons back and forth. Like they just check out the tab, and then you might go back and forth on a few things, but not the whole song, or have to go over like so much time teaching and coordinating parts and all that.
Absolutely, man. It definitely streamlines everything. And like you said, everybody can kind of work at an accelerated pace and it's a good creative tool. So tell us about your Cerberus guitar. I've heard of that brand. I have seen a few of them, but how did that come about and what are you actually going to be playing?
Yeah, so Cerberus guitars. So our other guitarist, Sam Matlack, he actually kind of introduced me to Cerberus and Michael, who runs Cerberus guitars, and we just kind of got along like friends. It's kind of just started out as a friendship, and we just got along really well. And I kind of started getting curious. I was like, oh yeah, like send me what you got. I'll check it out. Like it looks cool, but I'm someone who needs to be like hands on with it and see how it plays. And after the first 2 guitars I got from Mike, I was just kind of blown away by the just the overall just quality and just the overall just like playability for me. And um, really, it just came down to me wanting to go with Cerberus. Was just it just felt like I was with a brand I felt personally connected with, and the people that are on the team, and they really like believe in this project specifically, and obviously stuff I've done before, but it meant a lot for them to be like, yo, we really want to promote animation sequence, we want to do business together, and make some cool moves happen. And yeah, I'm stoked to finally get these guitars up on stage once we start playing shows and start obviously making videos and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's all come together just kind of spontaneously, really, just within the last year or so. But I'm very happy with things are going. Going to be getting some 8-strings soon. Started with the 7 strings, and now we're getting the first 8-string models, which I'm super excited about because obviously I use 8 strings. So it'll be nice to have the whole package: some 7s, some 8s, every type of tool I'll need to record music, play live, etc. Everything. So
On your guys' newest EP or release, did you use an 8-string on that one?
yeah, I did. I used an 8-string for the rhythms and then 7-string for all the leads. And my Cerberus I have that recorded the leads with it as a Floyd Rose. And I was like, oh yeah, this will be sick to have for like the leads. But believe it or not, I only needed the whammy bar for literally 2 notes of the song. So but sometimes it just works like that. Sometimes the song calls for it, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it just needs 2 notes of flutter. So yeah.
Well, there you go, dude. And like I've always known you as a guy that's always used like a hip shot or like a hardtail, right? So using a
Yeah.
Floyd is something you haven't really done before.
Yeah, I've done it before. Like when we did the Rings of Saturn album, Lugal Kien, I did a lot of Floyd Rose work on that, and then the first animation EP. But it's not something that I've typically done a lot because there's not a lot of 8-strings out there with a Floyd Rose. So when I play live, I either have to choose to be able to play the whole song live or transpose everything up and then be able to use a whammy bar. So I've always kind of thought the later, but now I'm kind of trying to push the idea of eventually getting 8s with a Floyd Rose so that then we can do everything one back and I can start writing more material with the Floyd Rose again, because I always like to consciously write something that I know I can present live as full as possible to the recording. So that'll be really cool if we can make that happen and gen around on the 8-string and then also flutter it up on the Floyd Rose and just get the best of both worlds finally.
Nice, dude. And like not to make like a pitch or anything, but the multi-scale Kalers, dude, they have 8-string bridges, and they were on a guitar brand that you're familiar with. And I checked one of them out at NAMM, and man, they're really cool. And I know that like Ollie from Viremi or whatever, he uses a 10-string
Oh wow.
Kaler. Yeah, and they're pretty solid, man. But anyway, like that's cool that you're gonna bring back that kind of an element, dude. And like that's one cool thing about the tremolo bars. It's kind of like expressive, it's like vibrato with a different kind of layer and stuff like that. So definitely cool. And Joel, who are your favorite guitar players? Like, I mean, I remember talking to you, Jason Becker, of course. I mean, you can hear it in your playing, but like, who do you really draw from, if not just a few people from so many,
Yeah. So yeah, definitely Jason Becker. Obviously, will always be kind of my number one guy that got me into the style of playing that I've always done. But there's also other guys like Christian Moenzer, Alan Holdsworth, Dimebag Darrell from Pantera. Yeah, so as far as the shredders go, like those are like kind of my guys. And then I've got, I don't even know the names of the players, but just the guitarists of certain bands like Stone Temple Pilots, Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. I just love his playing. I've gotten more lately into more like the grittier guitar players, not so much the technically sound ones, but the ones that have the most to say with like the less notes and the kind of just create an atmosphere and kind of like a vibe with their lead playing or their rhythm player, just guitar playing in general. So yeah, I mean, but the guys that got me started, yeah, the shred stuff, Yeah, Becker, Wenzer, Dimebag, and all those guys, of course, use Floyd. So I got to bring them back. So I've always loved that kind of style of lead playing. So I'm kind of like, man, like if I can just get an 8 string with a Floyd, I will be set forever. I don't have to change that. Like I've thought about the 9 string too, and I'm like, it's cool, but like I'm just happy with the 8. I think it has enough there for me to where I have as many options as I need for my writing as a guitarist, and also, um, you know, just obviously you could play lead shit on it and everything, but yeah, I gotta have the Floyd Rose, and then you can just do anything really, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Oh, totally, dude. Self expression is the most important thing, and I find it interesting. Like a lot of the people that you list are like people that like you. If we as people that play a lot of notes, like we, influenced by the same dudes, and it's interesting though too that like since you are a guy that plays a lot of notes, that you don't listen to a lot of people that play a lot of notes, like more feel players or like atmospheric kind of stuff, And I mean, I was surprised to hear like what is this Dean DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots as an
Yeah.
influence, but I get it, man, because it's like if you are listening to things that you do yourself all the time, it's kind of hard to like, either not like sound like that or like it gets kind of stale at a certain point.
Yeah, so, yeah, very much so. The last couple years, I've gotten more into appreciating just like songwriters in general, and like I've become like a big focus for me is just writing strong songs, but also expressing myself as a guitarist, or my other guitarist that writes for Animation was now encouraging him to express himself in his playing. But I also want to find that balance where it serves the song, but you also like kind of stand out as a guitarist too. I don't want the guitars to kind of overpower everything to where that's the focal point and everything else is on the back burner. I kind of like focusing on like a cool balance of it. And there's been a lot of like I guess alternative rock, like shoegaze, grunge bands I've been super into lately, like Catherine Wheel's Slow Dive. Um, yeah, just bands in that realm. Basically, I can't name any more right now, but that's been more of what I've been enjoying as a listener. But I still will always appreciate what got me into this stuff, and I'll still go back, listen to Perpetual Burn or Time Warp or the early Obscura albums, and every once in a while when I need like a kick in the ass of like some sick shred stuff, like all right, you're getting too mellow, let's fucking kick it up a notch and get inspired by what brought you to the dance. So I always like, go back to those players, but lately it's nice to kind of just spice it up with some other flavors and get some more, dynamics with like the songwriting and influences from just other genres and all that.
Oh yeah, dude, and broadening your horizons is always a good thing, musically, like other influences to draw from. Like I started listening to hip hop music and pop music, and like I don't know much about it, but I think that when I listen to that kind of stuff, I'm like, is this song accomplishing what it's trying to do? Because I think as musicians, sometimes we listen to music and we think about it like through these certain parameters or certain filters. But ultimately, like when it comes to you're talking about like writing songs, like even in whatever genre it is, like is it achieving what it is going for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of like certain EDM, drum and bass music. I love Aphex Twin and lots of other just random artists I found on Instagram. I'll just see someone using their song as a clip, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool," and I'll listen to it and listen to it in the car, or like I sometimes have specific types of music I will only listen to in the car, and then I won't listen to them at home. But then at home, I have my own playlist for that too, and it's just I don't know. It's cool to just be open and just be kind of, you know, willing to listen to things that are like totally outside of your range. And I actually appreciate music more, I think, sometimes when I'm not trying to figure out what they're doing, or I'm not playing in that style for a living. Like I appreciate it because I'm like, I don't see myself ever doing that. So when I listen to this, it's a treat to me. I'm not like imagining them in the studio or what they're using as their amp model or how they're getting their tone. I'm just appreciating the music. And I think, when I was a kid growing up listening to the metal bands that got me started, Iron Maiden, Metallica, and stuff. When I heard those albums and I had no idea what they were doing, I think there was a little bit more magic to it to me. And when I relate that to nowadays when I discover new music outside of what I play, I just get a whole new appreciation and kind of, I just get more excited about it because it leaves a little bit of wonder to me.
Well, dude, and like if you do it for reals, make music for real, I'm not saying other people don't, or like, whatever that means. But like when
Yeah.
you kind of pull the curtain back, you know what I mean? And you kind of know the inner workings of it all. It's like you're saying, like, you're not thinking about it through like this, like, am I imagining myself doing this or what this process would be like? Or, you can actually enjoy it for what it is instead of having to think about it like academically, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's also with music too. I heard this from an interview with Richard D. James. He's the guy behind Aphex Twin, the drum and bass stuff, and he was even saying something that kind of caught my attention about he likes music more when people don't talk about it. When it's just when he said he liked music most when he used to sit in a room with his friends and kind of just they would just all listen and not talk and just like kind of take it in and just enjoy it for what it is. And I really like that kind of philosophy with a lot of music. Like, of course, I'd love to nerd out over gear and all kinds of stuff like that. But man, sometimes I like to just sit back and just simply put, just enjoy the ride and just leave it at that. And just let the music do the talking for itself.
oh, totally, dude. Like I got into frontline assembly. I started listening to that and I really liked it. Like I like some EDM stuff and some like drum and bass stuff's cool, or like trance
Mhm.
music kind of stuff. And like what's that? Hans Zimmer, like that.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, like the Interstellar soundtrack or
Interstellar.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that's cliche, but you know what? I'm a person too. But
Mhm.
so I thought that kind of stuff was cool. So I'm not surprised that as talented as you are, that as good a musician that you are, that you find enjoyment in other forms of music, and that's really cool, dude. So you know with animation sequence, did everybody contribute to that song, or what? Did you write everything, or and then had everybody kind of add their own thing to it, or did you actually like program the drums and do all that kind of stuff?
So with this song, I wanted it to be the first kind of like test to see how everyone in the band works collaborating together. So believe it or not, our other guitarist Sam kind of started the theme for this song, right? So he like wrote the like I think three sections put together that ended up being the middle of the song, and then I kind of wrote everything around that, and we worked together on like going back and forth on the parts, of course. And it was very much a collaborative effort. And then Cameron Lowe's from Born of Osiris also did drums on this song, and he's just a monster behind the kit and as a songwriter. So literally, like I believe I think it was the first take he sent over. I was like, I don't have any notes, which is weird, but I don't. So we're good. Hell yeah.
Nice, yeah, true professional, man. And I gotta ask, dude, are we gonna see you on stage with Born of Osiris, man? Are you gonna play guitar? I thought of you right away. I did. I was like, that'd be perfect for Joel.
Actually, I did audition and I was talking with the band. They did go with somebody else, and but I was just it was a cool experience auditioning for them. I learned four of their songs, and it was a great time. I actually gained a better appreciation for the earlier stuff they wrote from the New Rain album because I think I learned two songs from that. And yeah, man, I've always been a huge fan of Born of Osiris. I would have absolutely loved to join the band on stage and see what happened. But I'm happy that they found the guy they needed, and right now they're killing it with Scott Carstairs. I don't know of many other people that could fill in that quickly, but he's definitely one of those guys, the monster of a player that can get the job done. And honestly, I could see them taking him on full time, but I know he's got Fallujah, so I know you know he's got his priorities with that, which is cool. I just checked out the new album they put out, and that was amazing as well. So, but yeah, tried out for him, didn't get it, but I'm happy for him, and I've still got an animation sequence that I'm super locked in with. So I'm just gonna keep trucking along with that.
Nice, dude. And thanks for telling us about your experience, dude. That's cool that you talked about it. And it's like you said, it's nice that you got your own thing with animation sequence and like, and yeah, I mean, just to throw this ask a question, like what is the difference between animation sequence and what you did previously? Like what was the deciding factor to go with that full time?
So the decision to go with it full time was really, I just felt like it was time, with Rings of Saturn, and I appreciate everything I did with Rings of Saturn, but it just kind of, I did it for so long. It did a number of releases with the band. It just felt like I kind of got to a point where I was ready to bet on myself and be like, I'm doing so much with this already that I feel like I could do this with my own vision and bring on, a team of guys to help, grow that vision into something cool. And I just felt like my time was kind of up with the last band, and I wanted to just go on my own path, so to speak, and do everything the way like I always envisioned and wanted to do. And it was rough at first, but now that we're a year later and singles out and we're working on new music, like super happy with the decision. Obviously, I'm not playing shows right now, and it takes a little while to get, a smaller project off the ground and start, making moves like that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm being patient, and yeah. Basically, long story short, just came down to just wanting to take it on for myself and carry out the vision that I had with this project originally. Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense because you were in Rings of Saturn for a long time. You put out some really killer music that you helped, create and write. And even doing something new that's kind of like where you see things going a little bit more. And that's totally understandable. I've been in that position myself, so I get it, dude. And I was really surprised when you took off because I mean, like with Theogony, you pretty much wrote that song.
Yeah, besides Lucas's solo, yeah, I did write and record that song, yeah.
And was that something that potentially would have been an animation sequence track? Like,
no, that was very much intended for Rings of Saturn. Like when we wanted to do a single, I was very much like in the mood to go back to like very much the Rings of Saturn roots for that song. Write something, because we came out with the self-titled album, and that was very much like trying to do, touch new territory with that and do completely different things. So that song, I wanted to kind of write something intentionally that would be a little more familiar to like the core Rings of Saturn fan base, but also still pushing in that instrumental direction. But yeah.
No, nice, dude. That's a killer song, and I'm happy to see that you're happy with where you're at. You guys are obviously releasing killer music, and looking forward to what the future brings for you guys and stuff like that. And like it was really cool though, dude, that like you went out on a limb for yourself and you
Mm-hmm.
saw it through. And it's hard when you depart something and then like you're sitting there and you feel like you're not making progress or like time's dragging on or like you feel this like desire to be like, oh, it's hit it hard and this and that. But to
Yeah.
have the patience and the foresight and the dedication and the discipline to see it through is really commendable, dude.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And it wasn't an easy decision because it's, I still have a lot of my heart in the band because I was in the band for so long and contributed a lot. But I know that like it was a good time for me to transition. We didn't have any tours booked or anything really on the table, no obligations. So I wanted to, it felt like it was the right time for me to transition to what's next. I know, Ryan and those guys, they have it under control. They will still continue Rings of Saturn whether I'm there or not, and they've proven they can do that in the past. So, kudos to them. I wish them the best with everything they got going on, and obviously wish me and my team everything we've got going on. And I'm just stuck with the way things ended up working out. So.
No, and obviously the right move for you, man, and that's what it's really all about. Like it's your life, it's your music, it's your creation, it's it's your passion, and sometimes you just got to make a change. And that's cool that you went ahead and did it, dude, because the music that you guys just released is really awesome. And I enjoyed listening to it, and I know other people have mentioned it too. So you got people out there that are seriously interested in what you guys are going to be doing. So that being said, man, like what's next? So you guys are writing music right now. And it was Claytronic part of a EP or LP that we're going to see in the near future or anything like that?
So Claytronic will be a standalone single, and right now we're in the process of writing a full-length album. So that is the next move. The last two animation releases were singles. Before that, we had a full-length instrumental album, but I think the single was just figuring out how this new team of people work together. And once we kind of dialed it in for one song, now we've got a template set. Now we can multiply that by 10 and do it for a full length album. So I'm really excited to dive into the full length and really just work on cool, concepts. Obviously having Adam on board as a vocalist, and like he's really good with lyrics and kind of creating a story with his lyrics. I'm really excited to see the depth he goes into when he can have a whole album to sink his teeth into besides just one song. So yeah, trying to get that just going as quick as we can, because I want to just keep the momentum going. And eventually the plan after the full length is to get some shows booked and start taking this thing live, and just going at it one step at a time and seeing what happens. So
Totally, dude. And like, and like you're talking like strategically, taking things one step at a time. And I think a lot of times people don't realize like how much work really goes into like having a proper release and like, doing all that kind of legwork. So it does take time, and sometimes it takes a while, but like I feel like the longer that it takes within reason, you end up with a better product and stuff like that. And by the time you guys are ready to roll, you'll be firing in all cylinders. And I'm sure it's really cool to be in a band where it's a collaborative thing, and having a vocalist that actually writes lyrics and stuff like that, it's really cool. And do you feel like since you've got such a strong, good core dudes to work with, that it kind of makes things easier, like it lessens your burden a little bit?
well, I think the biggest thing is the majority of the band is all local. So in almost every previous band, there's been some kind of uh, distance or working long distance. Like we obviously still do that, but we're only an hour away. So now we can get together and take promos. Me and the other guitarists can practice sometimes. We can do more, like I feel like a real band instead of just like this spread out thing where one guy's in Texas, one guy's up here in New York or Pennsylvania, one guy's in Washington. Oh, now they are in California, or this guy's here. It's, like with the internet, it doesn't matter where you are when there is distance, but it's having that direct contact with band members has been very refreshing for me. And it just alleviates a lot of logistical things like flights and stuff like that, to where in the past, those were all hurdles we had to figure out how to get through.
Oh, dude, for sure. And like, how cool is it to be able to hang around with the people that you play music with? Like, just like you
Right.
said, like, or even working on music. I mean, take the music part out of it, because like, I understand that like not everybody can be best friends, but it's really cool though. Like in being in a band, a part of it, in my opinion, is being able to be like, hey, these are my bros, these are my friends. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's something you can't get over a computer. So that's really cool. You guys all live around each other for the most part, which is going to help create even better music, because of like a personal connection. And like once you get to really know people, then when you do start traveling, you'll understand each other a little bit more. And because nothing ever goes according to plan and times get difficult, so it's good for like morale and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So when do you think that we'll see another animation sequence released? Do you guys have like a timetable that you're working with? Or
Um, the goal is by the end of this year, early next year, for a full length album. And yeah, and then possibly, probably shows, yeah, next year. Because once we have, the only thing stopping us from playing shows is having enough songs with vocals to make a set list out of. So once we have the full length with a whole bunch of songs with vocals, then bam, we have a set list to put together with that. So whether it's opening shows, being in between, or a headliner slot, whatever it calls for, needs at least get the full length out, so then we have enough material for the vocalist to do his screams over, or singing over, whatever it's going to be. So
nice, dude. And let me ask you a question. Are you guys going to play some of the older material? Have you thought about adding lyrics to any of the songs that you have recorded in the past?
the idea has been tossed around, yeah. Right now the focus is just on getting the new material out, but I was thinking maybe I think the first EP came out in 2018, so 2028 would be the 10 years. So maybe in a couple years I might start reimagining some of the songs with vocals, and maybe even, I don't know, putting it as like a reanimated version. I don't know, something that would tie in with the name of the project and keep the theme going. So yeah, it's definitely been an idea. But yeah, right now it's just focused for new songs, and then maybe when those like 10 years come up, might do some reimagined versions of those songs.
Dude, you should get like the Reanimator horror movie T-shirt and like
Oh, I
change it.
love that movie. Yeah,
Dude, like
that would
there's
be
a whole
awesome.
hell yeah, there's like a whole thing there. But dude, I even in my experience, like to even have a set list to play with my own project, that's what we did. Like I went back and some of the songs would be, oh, this would be cool with lyrics. So we like made 3 of them. So we recorded 3 with vocals and re-recorded the drums and the bass and stuff. So like that's something that I've done too, is because it's always like when you're in a not in a hurry is the wrong word or term, but when you're looking for material, and a lot of times too, it's like there's stuff that we have as musicians that we use once and then forget about. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so being able to like create content, because that's unfortunately a part of it now. You know what I mean? Like you have to be that kind of person where playing the music sometimes is the easy part. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
everything else. It's difficult. So creating content from stuff you've already have, that's awesome.
yeah. I've always, man, I've had to be pulled into the content creation direction, because when I started out playing, I sure this. When I started out, I just wanted to write killer music and get on stage and play it and go home. Now there's a lot more to it. If it's not even for like, oh, I'm attention seeking. No, it's like kind of it's just kind of to be visible at all anymore. You have to not only put yourself out there next to other music content creators, but also just other content creators in general. You're just trying to get any kind of attention from someone who might resonate with your music. So yeah, unfortunately, like my feeling is, if it had it my way, music wouldn't be so content creation based. But it's all part of it. And hey, once you do it, it is rewarding. Once you get a cool piece of video content put together that you're proud of, or things like that. And it's another way to connect with the audience more directly too. So I think those aspects are good. Just for me, I always looked at it as like, man, I just want to write music and play guitar. And once you get really into it, then you're like, yeah, 2025, that's not gonna cut it.
No, not at all, man. And like I mean, like I'm the same way, where I'd rather just like play, say hello, hang out, and then skedaddle or whatever. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, we got to make content. But it's good that we do that, because, like you said, we're trying to resonate with people, and there's a point to it. It's not some sort of attention seeking thing. Because in my opinion, it's like doing like the music related stuff's fine, but like B-roll kind of stuff, or like this is my normal life, like
hmm,
whatever that looks like, kind of stuff. Like to me, that's weird.
yeah,
You know what I mean, man? Like if I could hide behind like a guitar or something, that's fine. But like if I have to like, put that away and like talk to people, sometimes it's hard. You know what I mean? Like or
yeah.
whatever. I'm a
Like
shy
if I had to
person.
do that, in my life, like, yeah, I went and took out the garbage, I did the dishes. I went to the store, I got some coffee creamer. Like it
Totally.
wouldn't be very. I mean, if I had to film all that, I don't know how many views that would get. But luckily, like when you can play a guitar, you got something. You got something there. You can make at least some people engage with it that love guitar. So
Right. And we got to keep the guitar viable, because it seemed like for a while it was not disappearing, because it never will, but like
yeah,
like it's nice to see that it's still relative in like music that people consume, like on a somewhat like of a like not a commercial is the wrong term, but like on a large scale, you know what I mean?
oh
So
yeah,
we're
and
providing a public service.
it's cool to see. For a little while, I was kind of worried that honestly, guitar would not die off, but kind of slow down in popularity with like, a younger generation coming up. But now I've been seeing a lot of like, younger players like showing up on Instagram that are playing metal and playing technical stuff, or playing stuff that was inspired by bands like Polyphia or Animals as Leaders or whatever. And I'm kind of like, wow, like I'm honestly like surprised that they are keeping this stuff alive. And I'm sure it was the same thing, from the pioneers from the 80s and 90s, seeing kids pick up music and doing metalcore and deathcore in the 2000s, being like, oh, they still want to do this? Cool. So it's kind of cool. Like, now I just turned 32 over the weekend, and I'm like, man, I'm starting to feel like starting to get into like seasoned veterans territory. And now I'm kind of actually feel like I'm starting to get into that older generation territory just a little bit. But it's cool to see, it being continued on through the generations.
Oh yeah, dude. And like, think about like, and I mean, this is, I think, something that's really cool. And it's like how appreciative we were to like get to like learn from the people that we respected and get to like, those people are a part of our, musical growth and as well as our growth as people. So like having, even if it's a million people or one person, but to be able to release music and then people find that to be of value and it inspires them to play, that's another thing what this is really about, in my opinion, too. It's not about making money. It's about, I mean, you got to pay the light bill, but like, it's about like, giving something that other people think is cool, you know what I mean? And having people tell you, "Oh, that was really cool when you did this." I think that's something that, as musicians that we value really a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And with the internet and everything, it's cool to see all these creative ideas bounce back and forth between people, and it just grows, I guess, like the spectrum of creativity for everyone when everyone's exposed to all this information. You know what I mean? Like if the social media and internet didn't exist, I don't think music and metal would be quite as advanced as it is today, or at least yet. It might be another 10 years from now if for people to figure it out kind of on their own or by word of mouth. So yeah, it's a crazy thing, man. How many tools, how many resources are out there? I mean, when I first got into this and YouTube was still kind of kicking off, there wasn't like a ton of things to go to for specific things that you kind of had to figure out on your own. Now, any specific thing that happens on the guitar in your DAW, or if you imagine something like, oh, has someone already done this blend of genres? Yes, you find it on YouTube, and it's like, wow, like everything is kind of there, and it's a cool resource for everybody, just as a community, to be more creative and be better with production or songwriting or whatever it is. So
Yeah, there's some really good aspects to, the technological advances or like being able to record at home and all that kind of stuff and what that's really done for people that just, that couldn't afford to go to a recording studio or didn't live around one or, or the
mhm.
cost was crazy. And you grew up in Spokane. So like,
Mhm.
like when you were learning how to play guitar, when like YouTube was just starting out there, like, I grew up in a really small town too. I had to see somebody do something in order to learn it if I couldn't
Yeah,
look at a video. And that was really hard because like you'd go to your local music store and like if learning how to sweep pick or whatever it may be, like that's the something I had to see personally somebody do besides like watching a bootleg Ingwe video that I could really look like something
yeah,
on, looked like the Playboy channel, like scrambly.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had to go see that in person, so I think that, I don't know if you can relate to that experience, but like having being able to go on YouTube and look at stuff and learn is awesome. And even as somebody that me that's been around for 100 years, like it's so cool. I still learn because of things like that. I've saved a
Mhm.
million Instagram reels or YouTube shorts or whatever to learn from that kind of stuff. And it's really, really cool. And there's so many awesome musicians out there, that we can learn from of so many different things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when for me it was tab books, so I had all the Metallica tab books growing up, and then I was lucky in Spokane during the, I guess, the metal scene in the mid 2000s. There was actually quite a bit of pretty good guitarists in my area that I got to play shows with or work with for brief periods of time, where I learned a lot of stuff quickly that way as well. And like you're saying, you had to see it for yourself in person to see how they're doing it, how you were doing it wrong, and how you can kind of
Right.
like get more caught up to speed with them and figure out how to match what your hearers hearing on the record. So yeah, it's just cool, It's just the ease of access is nice nowadays.
Oh, totally, man. Like, like and like there's so many good like that Backsteed or Banksteed, that guy's freaking
Mhm.
insane, and there's a lot of good stuff there. And even some of the older dudes and like different styles. Like I heard like Joe Pass kind of stuff. Like I always knew who the guy was, but I never like bothered to like, foolish me to like sit down and listen to his music. And there's
Mhm.
just so much more stuff out there. And it's good for us too, because like it's people that make albums like hopefully those they find themselves in front of other people, dude. And that's why videos and stuff like that is so important. And are you guys going to put out like a music video or anything like that? Have you guys talked about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we did. We talked about it for the full length album. Once we put that out for one of the singles, it'd be cool to do a music video. I don't think I've done a music video since 2019, so I'm definitely overdue for one. I know they cost money, and when you're an independent band, it's kind of steep, but there's a lot of good video people in Florida. There's honestly in Florida, there's just for music in general, it just seems like there's an abundance of a little bit of everything here of musicians, people do production work. Since I moved here, I started doing like stagehand crew work, and that's stuff that wasn't really available to me up in Spokane, up in Washington. So yeah, it'd be really cool to get like a cool video guy down here that's somewhat local that could do a music video for us. I think it'd be really cool. Yeah.
So now you're living in Florida. Now I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm and not the cliche one of like, is everybody crazy? Because they're not. But like, dude, how you dealing with the humidity down there when you came from Spokane? Like, seriously.
Honestly, it doesn't bother me too much because I did live in New Orleans for about 2 years right after the pandemic. So I kind of got used to it by living there. I mean, I do miss some days like around now in like June where I walk out and it's a little humid. Yeah. I do miss walking around Washington in the summertime and not having to worry about that at all. But I guess you just kind of get used to it and you don't think about it after a while. There's rough days for sure. But I mean, if I'm not at work, like working outside or something, I'm always inside with AC. So I guess it doesn't really make too big of a difference. But I do miss the nature walks and all that, up in Washington. But at least here, I grew up in Washington for years and years and years. I lived there. So now being in Florida, it's cool to like go to beaches and go to, amusement parks and things that just there's a lack of obviously in inland Washington. So
totally,
yeah.
dude. Like, I mean, I'm living in Oregon, so I get it, man. It's like, it's nice to see trees, but there's not a lot to do sometimes, or not a lot of things to see, and so I get it. But you ever seen any snakes down there, like creeping around by you or anything like that?
So far I haven't seen any snakes. I keep joking with my girlfriend. I still don't believe alligators are real because I've lived here for 8 months and I haven't seen one. But I want to be wrong. I want to meet one day. Not in a dangerous situation, but from afar with my own eyes. I want to know that they actually exist because I've been expecting them, but I keep looking every time I see a sign that says alligator, be careful. I'm like, oh, where's he at? I'm like, I don't see him. Like, so I haven't been lucky enough to see him, but I'm pretty sure they're here, and it's just going to be a matter of time.
Well, dude, the unfortunate thing is like it's like Sasquatch. Like they see you, but you don't see it. You know what I mean? Like that's what's terrifying,
exactly.
Dude. Like, oh, I'm gonna like walk my dog right now, and all of a sudden, like, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Totally.
Oh no, that would be terrible.
Oh man, seriously. Like every time I've been down that way, I'm terrified of snakes. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm always like I'm like going to a truck stop and there's like a vending machine. I'm like looking underneath it and stuff to see what's down there. Like, I mean, I'm not like laying down on all fours or anything, but I'm like trying to, shun my phone as I approach because I'll run away and scream in terror, man. It'll be the most wretchedly embarrassing thing you'd ever see in your life. But Joel, it's been great talking to you, man, and I'm so happy for you, dude. And I'm glad to see that you're doing well and kicking ass, playing music, having a good time in life too. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap things up, man?
I hope to see anyone who's watching, at a show in the very near future. Just expect new music from myself and my guys at Animation Sequence. Obviously, check out Matt Miller and all of his amazing music and all the shows and things he's got planned. And just treat each other with kindness and respect. There needs to be more love in the world with everything going on. So spread that around and enjoy life best you can.
So the bottom line is listen to Animation Sequence and be excellent to each other, right?
Yes. Animation and namaste. No.
That's going to be your title of your new album, man.
Yeah.
Right on, Joel. Nice talking with you, man. I hope you have an awesome rest of your evening, bro.
You too, Matt. See you around.
Later.